My name is Margaret Adam, and over the past year, IDC analysts have been working with Sage and Sage's partners to understand the implications and opportunities that cloud brings to their business, particularly SaaS. Joining me today is one of Sage's partners, ePages. So I'd like to welcome Luke Tobin, Head of Business Development. Welcome, Luke.
Hi, Margaret.
Before we begin, if you could give us a little bit of background to ePages, what it is that you guys do, and a little bit of insight in terms of what you believe your unique selling points are.
Sure. ePages is an online shop provider. We currently have 140,000 customers, merchants in 75 countries, and we've been in the industry for 20 years, so we're very experienced at this. And our focus is very much on allowing small and medium-sized businesses to be able to compete in an ever-growing, complex industry. And we make selling online easy and affordable for them.
Fantastic. I think that's one of the really interesting things about cloud is that it does enable much smaller companies to compete with much larger companies, right?
Certainly, yeah, it really does.
So my understanding is that ePages is a cloud-native company. You've always been in the cloud, and in fact, you might even be considered an early adopter, certainly in European terms. Am I right in understanding that?
Certainly, yeah. We're a SaaS-based business. We've always been in the cloud, and it's our primary focus to extend that network.
And how do you think that's impacted your business model and your business strategy?
It enables us to scale and to grow and to provide our merchants with core services that we can't offer internally. Mm-hmm. We think from a growth perspective, it's a fantastic opportunity. One of the key examples of that would be Sage. And we have our core e-commerce product that we focus on, but it's important to offer extra tooling, services, and the different things that merchants need to grow. And the cloud certainly offers that opportunity.
So that ecosystem element is really interesting to me. And so, through those partnerships, obviously, you also enable more functionality to your customers. Do you see that as one of the benefits of being cloud native?
Yeah, certainly. And a good example of this would be Sage. As a partner, Sage One, we've created a native connector with these guys. We looked at our customer grouping, and when we were looking at the market, we looked at various accounting platforms, and we saw that Sage were by far industry leaders. So we decided that we would link the two together. We built a native connector between the two platforms, which allows easy flow of information for our merchants. And of course, we know that there's other tools, other solution providers out there which will help fill other areas of the e-commerce space, which is where we're now looking to build those partnerships in. You
mentioned earlier that the majority of your clients would be considered SMB, and in other sectors, we've seen some resistance with a number of SMB clients, somewhat uncomfortable or reluctant to embrace the cloud. What's your experience been in this space?
I think it's understandable in some ways. From a SMB perspective, of course, the cloud opens up huge opportunity, but also a big minefield of potential suppliers or tools that they can adopt. And I think they really need guidance and a handheld approach to that in order to make it able to navigate through. ePages is a good example of this. So we have a core product which we produce, and we of course we offer fully managed, which helps them to navigate that minefield in many ways, because we give them all the support that they need. There's training manuals, there's how-tos, but more importantly, there's built-in options for payments, logistics, multilingual currencies, etc. All of these things that actually, when you first start looking at e-commerce platforms, can be mind-boggling and can really throw you and almost put you off the concept, I would imagine. So certainly, our approach is to be affordable and scalable for them. Our point of entry for a price, for example, is just £20, which, if you compare that to previous legacy systems that would be installed locally, it's a big saving with all that support behind it as well.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. So there's a huge amount of functionality with the monthly charge, which certainly for an SMB, I think makes a huge amount of sense.
Certainly.
That whole recurring revenue theme, though, has been one that has been relatively controversial with the cloud, with many companies not used to or not embracing a recurring revenue model. In our opinion, if done right, it can be very, very good business. What's been your experiences in this space?
It's our core business. It allows it allows for scalability. It's a point of entry that is that a customer can try the product and gives them an opportunity to, rather than having huge investment from the off, to actually just even get into the product. It allows them the opportunity to really try it and grow and nurture with it. And of course, if you customize different packages based on the different user segments, that helps to simplify the decision process as well, rather than having to spend countless hours looking at different solutions.
So going back a bit to the concepts of an ecosystem and partnering for cloud, and it's certainly a dynamic element of the cloud that I think is very important. Could you elaborate a little bit more on your history with Sage and how that relationship has developed?
Sure. Sage has been a long-standing partner of ours now for 7 or 8 years. We first launched in Germany as part of their ERP solution, and since then, since the successful launch of that, I mean, they were selling shops, Sage shops powered by ePages. We've looked at other products that we may have customer synergy on, and certainly we noticed that there's quite a few. So quite recently we launched as part of the ISV networks. We're now a global ISV for Sage, which allows us access to all of their product suites. Sage 1 we launched back in October last year, which has been a really successful launch. That was in the UK. And the next opportunity is now in the US for Sage 1, and eventually we'll roll out globally. I mean, it's growing, and the partnership's growing. Our customers are similar. We both have premium solutions, and it's been a good partnership.
And I would assume that there's been a degree of co-development in that process?
There has. As part of the Sage 1 proposition, we had to develop a native connector. The way that works is we want to create a really seamless user experience. So we have a direct connector from the Sage accounting tool straight into ePages. So there's an accounting section in ePages in the back office. You can connect your Sage product very, very easily, and then all of your reconciliation for payments and everything directly goes into your accounting solution. So from a user perspective, it's seamless.
So you've obviously got a fair bit of experience in the cloud. Any last words of advice that you would give to other partners, other companies that are starting on their cloud journey?
Sure. I think again, as an early adopter of this opportunity, we've really put the right infrastructure in place and the right resources in place to be able to support this sort of growth. We've got partner managers, for example, at ePages, which their only job is to go and look for third-party partnerships, and they develop sort of 80 or 90 of these Sage similar partnerships. I think you need to remain quite agile and flexible when it comes to development. So our development team, we have a roadmap, of course, like any technology company, but it's important to keep an element of that open. So if a new opportunity arises or the market demands something else, you need to be able to act quickly and be responsive to that. And embrace the opportunity.
Thank you, Luke, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So some great words of advice there. In summary, looking at it from an ecosystem perspective, being open-minded and open to partnerships, having an agile approach, but also bringing in recurring revenue to your business, which can be a good thing. It also brings down barriers to entry for many of your customers. Some sound advice there. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you and goodbye.